There are currently 12 teams in the NHL that have never won a Stanley Cup. Today we're putting them all in the same league to see which one of them is the best. I think custom leagues might actually be the best thing that happened to NHL 23 in the entire game. Our contestants today are the Arizona Coyotes, the Buffalo Sabres, the Columbus Blue Jackets, Florida Panthers, Minnesota Wild, Nashville Predators, Ottawa Senators, San Jose Sharks, Seattle Kraken, Vancouver Canucks, Vegas Golden Knights, and the Winnipeg Jets. You may be thinking it's a little mean to put Seattle here because, I mean, they just started, so obviously they're not going to have a Stanley Cup, but they don't have one, and that's the only rules that apply. Even though they just started, they don't have a Stanley Cup, and that's why they find themselves here today. And since Winnipeg won the Cup in our first ever franchise sim of NHL 23, I'm going to control them and see if they can repeat it, but the way I set it up, their AHL team is the Toronto Marlies, so they're probably going to lose in the first round. Arizona Coyotes are projected to be the worst team by far at an 82 overall, and the Nashville Predators are projected to be the best team at a 90 overall. Our lineup as the Winnipeg Jets is Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Blake Wheeler on the first line, Sam Gagner, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Nikolai Ehlers on the second line, Harkins, Lowry, and Appleton on the third line, Saku Manalainen, Tony Nato, and Cole Perfetti on the fourth line. On defense, Josh Morrissey, Neil Pionk, Dylan DeMello, Nate Schmidt, and Brendan Dillon, and Logan Stanley. Connor Hellebuck looking to carry us to the promised land as our starting goalie, with David Riddick in the backup position. Without further ado, it's time to sim the first season. We finished the season 46, 30, and 6 with 98 points total earned. Third in the league. The 4 teams that did not make the playoffs as of the top 8 went through were the Kraken, the Sharks, the Sabres, and the Coyotes. Honestly, those were the 4 teams I would have probably picked if I had to pick the ones that didn't make it. Leading our team in points was Mark Scheifele with 90. Kyle Connor had 83. Ehlers had 71, 62 for Wheeler, 55 for Lowry, 50 for Dubois, 46 for Gagner, 39 for Morrissey, and then Neil Pionk with 33 rounds out the top 9. And then Scheifele and Connor both tied for first on the team in goals with 32. Ehlers with 24, 22 for Wheeler, 21 for Lowry, 18 for Dubois, 15 for Gagner, 14 for Harkins, and 13 for Appleton. Focusing on defense, Morrissey was the best with 39 points and 13 goals, leading in both categories. Pionk was right behind him with 33 points. Schmidt had 26, DeMello had 17, Stanley had 12, and Dillon also had 12. And goals, the closest to Morrissey was Pionk with 8, Schmidt had 5, DeMello and Stanley both had 6, and then Dillon had 3. A great performance from Hellebuck, 33 wins and 64 games played, 5 shutouts, a 910 save percentage, and a 2.78 goals against average. Obviously not the best performance of all time, but definitely not bad. And then Riddick had a pretty dang good backup position performance. Obviously playing less games might make your save percentage better, but still 13 wins and 22 games played, no shutouts, but a 921 save percentage and a 2.37 goals against average. Definitely what you'd like to see from your backup. In terms of the entire league, Mark Scheifele actually led the league in points with his 90. Goodrow was in second with 88. Giroux had 85. Connor had 83. 75 for DeBrincat, 74 for Laine and Kachuk, 73 for Yossi, and then 71 for Eichel. Rounding out the top 10, it was Ehlers with 71 as well. Goals, Mark Scheifele was not number 1. Patrick Laine was with 38. Eichel had 37. DeBrincat had 36. Miller had 34. 33 for Kachuk. 32 for Connor. And Scheifele, Forsberg had 31. Voracek had 28. And to round out the top 10, it's Alexander Barkov with 27. And the best goalie for wins was Thatcher Demko with 41 and 66 games played. I think he also had the best save percentage. He sure did. Best goals against average. James Reimer had the worst. Merzlikins had the best. But Demko actually tied him in that stat, I just realized, and faced way more shots. So he's definitely the Vezina winner. No goalies were able to score this season, but when it comes to points, 5 assists for Demko. He led the league in everything goalie-wise, basically. And in the first round, we will be playing the Nashville Predators. There's one less round in this playoff than in a normal one, so we're already in the quarterfinals. We're all here for the same thing, our first Stanley Cup. You know, Winnipeg technically won in our last video, but that doesn't count. This is the only one that matters. 3-2-1, first 3 games against Nashville are a loss, and a loss, of course.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
We're going to the fancy sim to hopefully gain the series back. But I mean, we're already 1 loss away from being out. First period is tied 1-1. Connor scores on Saros, and Forsberg scores on Hellebuck. Second period, tied 2-2. Johansson and Wheeler scoring. And now we're going to 8 times speed. We're going to watch it, and they score immediately. I was going to say, and hopefully win, but apparently that's not happening. We get a power play. We don't score on said power play, and we're running out of time. 7 minutes remaining. 6, 5, 4. They get a power play. They score. And just like that, we get swept in the first round. Well, isn't that fantastic? It's not. The semifinal matchups are Vancouver versus Ottawa and Nashville versus Vegas. I'm annoying that we're already out. I'm just going to sim and see who goes on to the finals. Stanley Cup finals matchup is Ottawa versus Vegas. Who do you got? I'm going for Ottawa because I really don't want Vegas to win. I don't really want Ottawa to win either. This is a conundrum that I can't escape. Who's it going to be? It is the Vegas Golden Knights, I guess. Hey, and our team won the Calder because we were the NHL team representing the Marlies this year. We look at our stats, there's not much to look at. We only played 4 games, which is the bare minimum when it comes to playoff hockey. We got 2 goals from Wheeler, 2 goals from Dubois, 2 from Connor, 1 from Appleton, and 1 from DeMello. Blake Wheeler led the team in points with 4. Dubois had 3. Ehlers also had 3, 2 for Connor, DeMello, Morrissey, and then 1 for a bunch of other guys. Connor Hellebuck not doing us any favors, 898 save percentage, 3.55 goals against average, so under 900 save percentage, over 3 goals against average. And not good at all. If we look at the playoff tree, the Vancouver Canucks beat Minnesota 4-1. Ottawa beat Florida in 7, beat Vancouver in 7, and then lost to Vegas in 7. So every single series they were in went to 7 games, but they just couldn't win the last one. Whereas Vegas beat Columbus 4-2. They beat Nashville 4-1. So their toughest opponent was Ottawa. Jack Eichel had the most points in the playoffs with 23. Marchessault had 20. Stone had 18. Stevenson had 16. And finally, the top 5 is when the first Ottawa player shows up, and it's actually Joseph. He dropped 7 goals and 7 assists, and they still couldn't win. I'm sure he was not happy about that. Brady Tkachuk had 6 goals and 8 assists, also having 14 points. Riley Smith had 13. Sutsula had 13. Quinn Hughes had 13, and he only played 12 games. And then rounding out the top 10 was Thomas Chabot with 12. Obviously, Robin Lehner had the most wins at 12. Talbot had 11, a one-off. Save percentage, the best one was Lehner when it comes to the goalies that played the most, but Demko stayed strong just like in the regular season, but his team obviously couldn't help him. He had a 9.31 save percentage, 2 goals against average on the dot, and they still lost. Only goalies that were able to get points were Talbot, Saros, and Lehner, and all of them got 1 assist. Another thing to look at is awards. Mark Scheifele winning the Art Ross Trophy. Hart goes to Johnny Gaudreau, however. The James Norris goes to Roman Josi. Lady Bing, Claude Giroux. Calder is Owen Power. I did not see his stats. I guess with the rookies available, it does make sense. Why doesn't he have a picture yet? How hard is it to get him in the studio and take a picture? Apparently really hard. Conn Smythe goes to Jack Eichel, which is not surprising. Vezina goes to Demko, also very much not surprising. William M. Jennings, also Demko. Bill Masterson, Eric Carlson. Jack Adams went to Paco, who is the coach of the Ottawa Senators. Surprised it wasn't the team that finished in first place, but whatever. Frank J. Selke goes to Barkov. Ted Lindsay goes to Gaudreau. And then Maurice Richard obviously goes to Patrick Laine. According to NHL 23, the best team that has yet to win a Stanley Cup is the Vegas Golden Knights. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down below. I might have to disagree on that one personally. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.